Some of you are probably wondering why you should use a virtual private server. I'm going to go through and explain it now. Before I go ahead, I'm just going to cover a disclaimer quickly because we're going to show an automated trading system. I just quickly want to say this disclaimer really. It's just say that the webinar is intended to help individuals to learn how to run their automated trading tools, their lots, on a virtual private server, and any information or advice is general in nature and it does not constitute personal investment advice. So we don't accept any liability, for any loss of money, using this video. And if you just read the rest of it, it says they're pretty much standard, really. It says all securities and financial products or instruments transactions involve risks. Please remember that past performance results are not necessarily indicative of future results. There you go, got that one out of the way. I'll just go into it now on the third slide. So who is ClickAglo? I'll just quickly go through who we are. We are a cTrader solution provider. We provide exclusive services for cTrader. We provide a coding service, online education, trading tools. We've been in business now 6 years, and we've delivered over 1,000 projects. So we've got a good understanding of running algorithms or automated trading systems on VPS servers. Okay, so the subjects I'm going to cover is why use a VPS for your automated robots, how to send trade signals 24/7. We're going to demonstrate it using a Harmonic scanner, and an overview of a smart grid trading system and how you would run an automated robot using cTrader on a VPS. I'll just go to the next slide now. One sec. Okay, so benefits of using a VPS. So a VPS is very useful for traders who employ automated trading strategies. The obvious benefit here is it runs 24/7, so it'll run 365 days a year. So you're free to operate trading systems without any worry of power outages, internet connection issues, or bandwidth problems. And pretty much most VPS companies out there have like a 99.7% uptime. So you know that your trades will be managed as long as that robot's running. And they also offer low latency, that will be described later. But they have professional data centers that are very close to the cTrader servers, so they can do very fast trade executions. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through a few of these. Harmonic patterns, what are they? Just briefly, harmonic pattern trading, or the actual indicators, the mathematics involved in the background use Fibonacci retracements. Now, Fibonacci was a guy hundreds of years ago, he's a mathematician, and he came up with this formula. It's 1.618, it's a golden number, and you'll find it everywhere in the universe with flowers and everything else. Because this is a repeating pattern that actually happens in the universe, the mathematics behind it was put together to create harmonic patterns that are now used in the financial markets. Now, this indicator isn't exactly, going to give you a 100% signal to go into a trade, but it actually does, or should give you more of an idea if you should enter a trade or not. Now, here it just goes into more detail about what the golden ratio number is, and it tells you all about the spirals of Fibonacci numbers, like an unpeeled banana, things like an orange, anything really, flowers, it's all in there. Should have left that slide out, really. Okay, I'll go to the next one. A couple more. When to use a VPS? You should only use a VPS when you have tested your automated trading systems for bugs and all the trade rules are correct and the system is working correctly. Then it's time to put it on a VPS and leave it running. You could also put it on there to identify some bugs as well, but mostly it's when it's ready and you've tested it on your PC. You've already optimized your settings and you've run backtests. So we don't advise you run optimization or backtest on VPS servers because they're normally low spec. They're fine for running your trading systems, but not really for running intensive data manipulation, for finding your right parameters. You're unable to leave your PC on 24/7. So most people can't leave their PCs running all the time. So that's where a VPS comes in handy because you can just put your trading system on there, leave it and just forget it. You can also log into it at any point in the future to actually check your trades or manage it. You want an indicator to send trade signals 24 hours a day. This is very useful as well. That's why the Harmonic scanner, I'll explain that in a minute. When you want to trade from any location, now an example might be that you have a trading setup at home, but you might want to trade from the office that's in a different location. You can remote connect to your VPS server, open up cTrader for Windows and manage your trades. Okay, I'm sure there's other benefits of using a VPS. So we'll get started now and go straight into it. So I've got a VPS now, that's what you're looking at. This is one of their, I think, cheaper ones, like $15, euros, I think this one. It's a 2 gig of RAM. So I'm going to demonstrate this on 2 gig of RAM with a 2 gigahertz processor. And they can show you the price structure at the end to go into more detail. So first thing I'm going to show you is this is cTrader, and you can see that it's showing the trade window. This is normally where you would do your manual trading. So what I'm going to show you here is the Harmonic scanner in operation. This is one that we've built, and it actually automatically shows the patterns as they form on the chart. So there's two patterns that are formed here. They're both bullish and a bearish shark. So if I remove one of them, I'll show you the bullish one first. So if I show the bullish shark pattern, sorry, the bearish one, you can see that there was a minor drop there before it went bullish again. If I get rid of the bearish and show the bullish, and on the bullish one, you see there was a major change, but that was probably caused by a news release, not by the actual indicator itself. So the indicator will tell you what type of pattern it is, the actual percentage of accuracy for this pattern. Now, this software will allow you to actually change the ratios in the patterns that you're using, so you can find less accurate patterns, so you can experiment with it. Now, we followed the ratios for Scott M. Carney. So if you research harmonic patterns, Scott M. Carney, we used his pretty much formula for these patterns on here. So I'll just quickly go through the indicator itself and what it does. So on this control panel here, you can show or hide bearish or bullish patterns. You can show all patterns. If I get rid of this last pattern, it should come back with all patterns that are formed historically. There's just a few. But if I show you another, if I actually did Gartley patterns, butterfly, and cipher, it should come back with many different patterns. If I go back in time, if I scroll back, well, it should do anyway. There should be more patterns on there. Okay, so that's that. So what I'm going to show you now is just go into the settings. I'll just tick on last pattern again. So what I'm going to show you now is if I go to the settings window, and I'll show you what you can configure for this. You can decide how many days back you want to look for a pattern, or how many bars or candles you want to look back. This will actually give you a pop-up window when there's an alert. Because if you're on a VPS, you don't really need a pop-up window, so I would just leave this set to no. Pattern opacity, you can just decide how much the actual background color changes. You can display the ratios, snap to pattern, that actually just scrolls the chart. Now the ratio tolerance, like I said, you can change that to a higher value. That will come back with less accurate patterns, and you can auto scan patterns that they could come through. Now, one of the benefits of this system is that you can actually receive Telegram alerts direct to your mobile phone while running this indicator on a VPS. So if I actually go to the alerts window, so on the alerts window, you can configure it to send an email, a Telegram, or an SMS message. Now, most people these days aren't really using SMS messages, but this was built in case people want to use it. So the benefit of this is this will run on your VPS quite happily. The moment it identifies a pattern, it will send a Telegram message directly to your mobile phone. You can then pick up your phone, see that there's been a signal for a possible trade. You could then remote connect to your VPS if you're at work, and you can manage that trade. You can either open it, or if it's an automated system, you can actually decide how you're going to manage it. So it's very useful for actually giving you these signals in the event that you can't leave this running on your PC all day long. You know, you might not have a great internet connection, and you don't really want to miss out on anything like that. So I'll just show you one more. If you can actually add multiple patterns onto the chart. So this is one which is Euro USD, and you can see there was a bearish shark pattern that was formed, and there was a bearish trend that happened after that. So what I want to say about the harmonic scanner is I would definitely use this for identifying patterns, but do not trade just on it alone. Use other indicators and another strategy that you're using as well. And definitely worth putting it on a VPS if you just want to leave it running to get signals. Now there's a scanner window as well. It opens up. Now this scanner window will actually tell you all past patterns that are formed, and it will tell you the accuracy, the quality, the date of time that it happened, and all the rest of it. You can jump to charts by just clicking on any of these links. Now we actually got an API as well. What that means is that if you want to integrate this into your automated trading system to run on a VPS, you can use the API that we've got, and you can access this data here. So as soon as a pattern forms, a new entry will go into this data here, and you can access this from your API and decide whether you want to enter a trade. So you have all these values. You have pattern, type, symbol, time frame, date, time, and quality. So through the API, you can run an automated system and decide if you want to go into trades or not. But you'd have to actually write that code yourself or contact us to actually do it for you. Okay, so if you want to add a new one, you just open up a new chart, and it's pretty straightforward. Okay, there's a new chart. This is the default template for cTrader. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go to template. And I've created a template already called Harmonic. And because I've already added the template onto the chart previously, it's actually put it on here and also changed the formatting of the candles and all the rest of it. So all you need to do is create the single one here, the one how you want it to see with any indicators you want it. You actually right click, you go to template, save template, and you can actually save this template and reuse it later on. So I'll go back to this one here for GBP USD. Now to actually get the patterns to show, you just check the boxes. I'm going to check all the boxes. And hopefully it will come back with some patterns. If it doesn't, it will just say no patterns. See on the GBP USD, it's actually identified another bearish sharp pattern. And you can see it is quite accurate there. So that was just a random one I put on there. So again, if you go to the scanner window, you see that it would have put the pattern for GBP. There it is there. It's up there. Okay, so that was it. That's all I wanted to show you there. If you do have any questions on this harmonic pattern or anything else while I'm doing the video, just ask the questions at the end. Just make a note of it now on a piece of paper, and then you can ask some more questions later on. So to actually run multiple patterns, you can just simply keep adding more simple instances and just leave them running on your VPS. Now, before I go further, I'm just going to show you how much resources it's using at the moment. This is a 2 gig server. It's got 72%, which is more than enough at the moment. And it's running the Harmonic scanner. Now, if for any reason the Harmonic scanner does use more, if you've got, say, 50 charts open, you might have to upgrade to a different version of the VPS, or I can show you a memory management tool that we've got that you could actually use. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Okay, yeah, I'll go to the cTrader Automate window now. So if you're using cTrader for trading or something similar to this, I would use the trade window. cTrader Automate, you could also use the Automate window. Now, I could have quite easily run the Harmonic scanner on the Automate window, but this Automate window really is dedicated towards running your automated trading systems. Now, because it's got a GUI and it uses a lot more memory and CPU, Panagiotis later on is going to explain a different way of doing this to use a lot less RAM on your VPS. So he'll show you another way of doing this later. But for now, I'm going to explain what we've got here. Now, you could have run your Harmonic scanner on here and actually quite happily just run it using the Automate window, but I just wanted to show you it on the trade window. Now, what I'm going to show you now is the smart grid system. And the way that works is, let's look what we look for now. So the smart grid system, what I'm going to do is explain quickly how it works in the background. And then I'm going to explain how to use a news manager with it, and also how to run a back test with it using a visual mode, and actually shows you opening and closing trades using historical data. And then I'll quickly go through the statistics for it and how to optimize it if you were, okay? So what I'm going to do now is just go into the settings coming down on the right-hand pane there. So when you first start cTrader Automate, you can actually drag the parameters window anywhere you want. So I'm just going to leave it up here in the corner. Oops, go on, move it back over here. Okay, so this smart grid system that we sell on our website, it's a basic entry-level trading system, like all of our robots really, because they're not very high priced. Well, the whole idea behind it is that it's actually, it's like a grid hedge, but whereas a grid hedge would open up constantly buys and sells, this will only open up a trade when there's a strong trade in the direction where the trend is going. So using additional indicators, if the trend is bullish, it will then open up a position on every price retracement. So every time the price goes against the trend that it's actually going to open a trade for, it'll open up a new position. So in other words, if it retraces back, it'll open up one, and it'll continue to do this, and it'll actually continue to open trades with a multiplied volume. So that the volume will change and go up each time. You can change this with the settings. So this trading system here, I'll quickly go through the settings. You've got your grid settings, the actual lots you want to use, and the grid distance. Now the grid distance is how far between each price. So if it's 2 pips, it means every time it moves 2 pips, retracement, that opens up a new position. Volume multiplier means how much the volume multiplies each time. The higher the value, the higher the money you get back, but also the higher the risk. You've got a lots limit of how much you want to limit your lots. You've got a standard hard stop loss. You've got your max spread. That means that if the spread widens during low volatility or anything, it won't open up a position. It could blow your stop if you've got a low stop loss. Max slippage, you can add that so that you don't get, you can look up slippage later on, but if you don't want to open up a trade if there's high slippage. How many buys are open, how many sells are open, how many maximum trades are open. So these are all risk protection limiters. You've also got a fixed take profit or an automatic take profit. The automatic take profit will do it in the background and actually calculate it for you. Price level stops are more like support and resistance levels. Equity stops, if your equity drops below a certain value, you stop the robot, you get out. Again, for your equity profit stop. And you've also got a balance stop. So you've got some quite good risk limiters in here to prevent you from crashing your account. You've also got an equity drawdown stop. If your equity drops down a certain percentage. Trading hours, you can decide when to trade the robot. You can do a Friday stop. You can close all trades before a Friday. You can add a trailing stop, a break even. News Manager, this will also pause any trading. There's another product here called the News Manager robot here, CBot here. It will pause tradings a set number of minutes before a news release and a set number of minutes after. And you've got a dynamic stochastic filter, an ATR filter, whole moving average filter. You can send Telegram alerts and you can send various Telegram alerts. So that's it briefly there. I'll just quickly go through how it actually works now. So to run this CBot on a cTrader platform or on here, you just press the play button. You can add multiple instances. So if I wanted to add another currency, I can add an instance. So I can run with different settings, multiple robots. So this is now 2 robots. I can change the symbol there to GBP USD. I can then go to the settings and change the settings there. And when I click play, it will run it. So I think with something for this sort of setup, VPS, you could probably run 20 to 50 different CBot instances or different symbols before it actually starts needing more memory. We have got a memory manager tool here. So anybody that's actually watching here today who signed up for this webinar, you can have this for free. What this will do, if it was running on a VPS, it will actually manage your memory. So if it goes too high for any reason, if you're say backtesting or anything on it, you can actually just click boost memory and it will actually drop your memory right down. This is only the memory for cTrader that's unused. It doesn't affect your trades anyway. And also if it goes high while you're running it. But from what I noticed, what I was using and Resonate with backtesting, it doesn't really need it so much because cTrader does manage memory in the background, so it does it quite well now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go straight into running a backtest. So now what a backtest is, it's actually a way of running a test on historical data with your settings that you've got to see if you're actually getting good results. So it's just an indication if your CBot is going to crash when you run it on live data in the future, or whether you'll have a higher probability that the actual CBot will start making money. Now, the future test that you're doing will never be the same. It will always be different because the past historical data is different. So I'm going to run this now on a visual mode. Now the visual mode will actually show it running in real time of how it would have worked. I've got it set at 10,000 speed, so I'm going to run it now. So that's now running a visual back test at the speed of 10,000 of normal, because each bar is 1 minute. Now what it will do, it will run along and actually start opening and closing trades. And as it opens and closes trades, it will actually start showing you exactly what it would do on historical data. Now, because this takes a lot longer than I envisage, what I might do is just leave it running for a little bit to see when it starts opening trades and then going. So it's hit 3 trades, and you can see they're now in profit and they're closing out. So you can also see the pips here that are actually in debt as it's going along. Now, what a backtest will do also, it will tell you at what point during this period of time your balance or your equity was at risk, what percentage. So if you had £1,000 and you had a 10% risk, it's £100 at one point you would have been at risk. So this is a very good way, backtesting is a very good way of proof testing your trading strategy before you put it on a live system. And I advise anybody to do this. Better to do this on your local PC because it's much more powerful. You'll have something like 64 gigs of RAM, not 2. And definitely with optimization. Now, optimization is very useful because it means that your settings here, like your indicator setting, it means that you can actually find, you can match them, you can data fit them for the symbol that you're trading. So this will run on. I'm just going to increase the speed now. It will drag across. Should drag across in a minute. Okay, it's dragged across. Now that'll increase the speed to 20,000, sorry. Now that'll run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop that. It might take a few seconds to stop. And while that's stopping, I'm going to show you the history of trades. Now that'll show you the trades that have stopped out so far. So if I now take off the visual mode and I run the back test all the way through, you can now run in a back test and show you an equity chart. Now the equity chart, this grayed area here is your drawdown. It tells you how much of your equity was at risk If you've got massive spikes of this grey stuff going down, it means you were really risking your robot at one point of doing your count. And because this is your equity growth, it's not that bad. So if I actually now go to your history, you can see all the trades that closed off there, and there's only one losing trade out of the whole lot. I did optimize some of the settings on this trading system before I ran it just to do the demonstration for this date time, which is 29th of the 9th, the 26th of the 10th. But if I go to trade statistics, you can see that it started at 1,000. It made a net profit of £136. Your balance drawdown was 0.04%. This means that your actual initial deposit of 1,000, 0.04% of that, I don't know what that is, 4 pence, isn't it, was actually at risk at any one point during that back test. But your equity drawdown was 4.13%. So this goes to show you how to do that. And also, I'll quickly go into another area, which is optimization. So this is another section of cTrader. Now, this will allow you to actually find the best settings for your trading system and for your robot. Now, you wouldn't want to do all of it. I wouldn't data fit like everything because it is really data fitting it too much. But I would do things like your denappily filter. If you're using an indicator, I would kind of get the upper and lower thresholds. I would data fit those, and also what values you're using for the indicator. Especially with your ATR indicator and your whole moving average or anything like your indicators, I would definitely run data fitting on that. And there are some other values like how many trades are open at every time. But in general, when you do optimization for this, it's best to pick certain parameters to run it. Now, what this does, anybody doesn't know what optimization is, it's a method of actually brute force finding the perfect parameters to get the best results for that historical data. Now, again, if you run this back test, if you run a back test after you've optimized, it might, even though it might show say 1% drawdown over that period, the reality in forward testing might be 5%. It might be a lot higher. So the rule of thumb is back test with your lowest risk and your lowest position size, and be expected that it's going to be a little bit higher on real data. So that's the best way to do it. I think I've covered everything there. The only thing I wanted to show you now is quickly, just go through my notes, is the price structure of this ISP, sorry, this VPS hoster. Is they do very different ones, but the one I demonstrated here was the FX Basic. So that was a €15 a month. I think for running most of our automated trading systems, that's probably the one you want to look at. And I think for that price, if you do go on the internet, it is pretty competitive compared to most other companies. That is very competitive, actually. Okay, so before I go, I'm just going to offer anybody that's actually on this webinar, not only do you get the memory manager free, you can get 50% discount off the smart grid. So if you are interested, just drop me an email and I'll just check that you did sign up for this webinar and I'll give you a discount voucher for 50%. So I think that covers me. It's back to you, Katerina.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very informative, and I believe the demo also will be very useful for our attendees today. We're gonna move on with the second part of the webinar. It's with Panagiotis. He just texted me he had some issue with the internet. Stefano, shall you take over and then you will tell us about low latency? We have Panagiotis back. Just on time, just on time.
So give me 2 minutes to configure my PC here and connect to my VPS. If you want to proceed maybe with the questions to Paul.
Yeah, I thought maybe, so we have some questions. Actually, I believe it's for Paul. So let's clarify it now then. Yeah. We have a question. Can VPS be run for a year without updating the Windows? Okay, it's not exactly the question.
Very unwise. You have to update Windows for security patches. Well, I think it's done automatically with the VPS provider, no?
Yeah.
So if I can add an input here, theoretically, yes, a VPS can run even for 2 years. We've seen such uptimes. However, it's really not recommended not to, not to install Windows updates, since you will be using the VPS for, trading purposes. Security is important. So although you can have the VPS running, we recommend that you do install the Windows updates.
Yeah, Thank you. We have other question. I believe here also Stefano and Paul, you can help, maybe Panagiotis as well. Which VPS package is needed to have 3 instances of cTrader and 3 instances of MT4 running at the same time? The platforms will be running bots only.
Panagiotis?
Yeah, it always depends on what you are running, you know, with how many resources each cbot requires and how many instances and symbols you will use. The best thing is to actually test yourself. And see how much resources your strategies require. The minimum, the suggested minimum resources for cTrader is to at least have 2 gigabytes of RAM, but I have seen strategies running pretty well with much less.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on the project, depends what they will be running.
Yes, of course.
It's very individually. Okay, and here is the question for Paul. What time frame your harmonic pattern work accurately?
I think that it's on our website. We've got product page and a user guide. I think we do just say there's something like 1 hour. I think it's 1 hour.
1
I'd have
hour.
to double check on that. But if you go to ClickAglo.com, I forgot to show you our website actually. But if you go to our website and look at the harmonic pattern scanner there is a product page. And on the product page, there's a user guide, but it will tell you the best timeframes to use. But I think it's 1 hour, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I think this question is for Panagiotis. I would like to try programming by myself. Is there any strategy builder for cTrader?
Well, it's a little bit out of scope of this webinar. There are a couple of providers that do it. If you are interested, just join our cTrader Telegram group and I will send some links.
Yeah, I think this will be helpful. Actually, cTrader Telegram channel is a big community, I would say, and you share a lot of information there. So yeah, this would be helpful. Okay, Panagiotis, if you are ready.
Yeah, I'll try to share my desktop now.
Okay.
This one. So let me know if you see my desktop.
Yeah.
Cool. So first of all, thanks, Stefano, for inviting us in this webinar to talk about VPS and cTrader. Thank you, Paul, for the very interesting presentations of your 2 products. They were very informative. In my presentation, I will talk mostly about the upcoming release of cTrader 4.2, which is a release that was expected a long time ago, especially from developers. First of all, I will have just a single slide highlighting some key features to be expected with this release. So, as I said, this version was highly expected by developers. So we kind of changed a little bit our motto from traders first and made it for this version developers first. So it's a developers first release of cTrader. And I've put some points of some of the features to be expected with this release. The most important is that cTrader finally migrates to .NET Core 6. And in this context, we introduce many more features for developers, which is like out-of-process algo execution, sandboxed algo execution, support for many integrated development environments. We have removed dependencies to cTrader, so now developers can use any IDE they like. We also have a new built-in code editor. We have improved our cTrader Automate logging. We have a process to automatically update the .NET Framework bots and indicators to .NET Core. We will introduce a new installer. We have created a new on-destroy method for indicators. We have made many improvements on backtesting and optimization, especially some bugs that were existing in optimization that would not allow to produce same results between backtesting and optimization. We have some an auto-format hotkey for the code editor. live past progress for optimization, and at last is the feature that I will present today, which is called the cTrader console. So I'll just now switch to my VPS provided by NetShop to demonstrate what the cTrader console actually is. Okay, in a few words, cTrader console is just a stripped out version of cTrader. So it's a version of cTrader which you can run from a console environment and allows you to execute strategies without the need to load the complete user interface of cTrader. This additional executable can be found in the installation folder of our new cTrader. Here on my VPS, I have installed the development version of cTrader we are currently working on. And I'll just open the relevant folder where we have installed cTrader. And in this folder, you can see that besides the actual cTrader exe, there is an exe called cTrader.console. And this is what I was talking about, the stripped out version of our cTrader environment that allows you to execute bots without a UI. And now, how do you use it? It's pretty straightforward. I'll just open a command prompt. Navigate to the relevant folder. And now the only thing I have to do is to execute this command, which is actually a command to start cTrader console exe and pass some parameters with it that instruct what will be executed and how. Just briefly going over the parameters, you need to pass your login, which is your cTrader ID, your password, the account number you want to use, the folder in which your cbot is located, the environment in which you want to execute your strategy, your symbol, and the time frame. You might ask, where do you pass the cbot parameters? At the moment, this is not possible for the first version of cTrader console. Your cbots will be loaded using the default parameters, but in a future release, we will allow you to pass as an argument your a settings file that will contain your cbots parameters for which you would like to execute the strategy. So for me, the only thing I have to do now is just copy this, paste it here, and just execute it. It will take some time to load the strategy, to connect, first of all, with my cTrader ID, get all the relevant information, and start my strategy.
So, you can now run an automated trading system or multiple cbots using minimal memory now, can't you? So you don't need a higher spec VPS for this.
Yes, of course. I will demonstrate in a while how much resources this consumes. Now that I have started our sample martingale robot, I should expect it to execute an order, which it has. It has opened a sell position of 10K on Euro GBP. I have already started my development cTrader on the VPS, and I can see if my position has been opened. Okay, I got a response that market is closed. Sorry guys, it's just a development environment, so sometimes we play around with symbols. But what I can do is just try another symbol like Euro USD, which from what I see is open. And check if my strategies are actually working. I'll just change the symbol here. So my cbot is connecting, it's logging in, it's creating the robot. And eventually it will send my order to the server.
Position opened.
Position opened. We should have seen it. I guess I have the correct account. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. We can see it now in our cTrader user interface. If I close the position, we will see that a new position has opened again. And if I close it in loss, we will see that the size has doubled, something that means our martingale strategy is working, and we can see the log printed on our screen. So pretty much this is it. A very straight way to run your cbots on a VPS. And what we can compare now is that if we open the task manager, we can see the difference in the used memory. While our cTrader desktop consumes around 120, it's 190 megabytes of RAM, our cTrader console uses only 60, so only 30% of the memory from our traditional cTrader desktop, which is a huge improvement in memory usage. Can you still see me, guys? Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I just lost connection to the desktop, to the VPS. Here it is back. So this was it. A very easy way to run your VPS and save resources and be able to use VPS solutions with much lower specs. Just for the demonstration, I asked NetShop ISP to provide me with their lowest spec VPS server to demonstrate that it runs efficiently. And at the same time, I also have 2 instances of cTrader running on this VPS with 1 gigabyte. Last thing that I forgot, since cTrader 4.2 will run on .NET Core 6.0, you will be able to use cTrader console not only on Windows, but on Linux as well, which is also another way to save resources and
money.
And money.
And money, yes.
Sorry.
And Panagiotis, when it will be the release, actual date you have?
We usually don't commit on dates, but we would like to release it sometime in November.
Okay, so it's quite soon.
Yeah, the plan from Microsoft to release .NET Core 6 is November, so we would like our releases to coincide. We are working hard into meeting this date.
Perfect. Okay, I believe if our guests will follow your channel, your newsletters, they will be, updated when it will be
Of
the
course,
final release.
as soon as we release, we announce it to everybody and in our channel, in our communities.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. And now it's turn Stefano Sordini, the CEO of NetShop.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, and you will explain us about the advantages of low latency on a VPS while trading.
Of course. So actually, Paul covered the part where he explained why to use VPS for Forex trading. So I will not go into more details about that. I just want to.
Sorry, Stefano, to interrupt. Panagiotis, can you stop presenting your screen? You are sharing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
So what I would like to focus, which is a very, very common question in Forex and developers forums, is the latency when it comes to Forex trading. So if we see latency from a purely technological angle, latency is the amount of time for a package to be transmitted digitally from the source to the destination. Now, when we're talking about Forex or crypto trading, we're talking about the trades sent from the trader's terminal at a specific price to the broker's trading server. So if we add the latency factor to this equation, then the higher the latency, it means that the longer your order will reach the destination server. This is very, very important, especially during when the markets are volatile during major news. The market price may have shifted several points away from the request price that the trader sent it. So this makes it very, very difficult for a trader in Malaysia to trade using his laptop and send orders to a broker whose server is in Amsterdam or the United Kingdom. So as no matter how powerful your workstation or your local PC is, you will still have to encounter the factor of latency, which cannot be solved due to the, let's say, due to the geographical barrier between yourself and your broker's trading server. One thing that NetShop ISP focuses is, apart from the traditional VPS, during the past few years, we did we focused a lot on the infrastructure we provide for our Forex VPSs, meaning that we got infrastructure located where the major liquidity providers and Forex brokers are. So we have interconnection with Equinix in London, which makes it which facilitates up to 1 millisecond latency for the Forex traders. Latency is, for me, the most crucial factor when it comes to Forex trading. Whether you find a VPS which costs, $2, the latency is what you need to, target for the lowest latency. Excuse me. So before you purchase a VPS, one recommendation that I can give to the traders who are with us now is you can always ask your broker to give you the location of their servers and, if possible, the IP of the servers, and also ask your potential VPS provider to do a trade route or a latency check to your broker's IP address or servers. The latency, the optimal latency you should seek for would be, of course, the lowest the better, but I personally wouldn't go for anything above 10 milliseconds. There is, the way hosting providers and data centers and network connectivity is in 2021, it does not justify, having a VPS for Forex trading and having more than 20 milliseconds latency. So these are my recommendations for Forex VPS. I've seen a lot of professional Forex traders who the usage of VPS is still a gray area for them. So hopefully we will get more questions in the end of this webinar, and we can organize another webinar focusing on the, let's say, on the technical side of latency and how you can minimize it.
Yeah, thank you. I would say it's more to come. Yeah, we are open for any
Yes.
suggestions for the further subject of the webinar, for sure.
Of course, yes. And with this opportunity, I would really like to thank Panagiotis and Paul. So we have been working closely, not for very long, but I believe, all solutions from ClickAlgo, Spotware, and NetShop. I think if you combine these, then we make professional traders happy. If I can put a slogan on this collaboration.
Great combo. Okay.
I don't know if we have any other
Yes,
questions, Katerina.
we do, yeah. And I will start for. It was a question after Paul's presentation. Do you have any plan to backtest multiply strategy at the same time? Let's say strategy 1 and 2 run at the same time to see the results.
I think this question is for me. Okay. I'll be honest, we haven't developed much cTrader Automate for a long time because we were really working towards this specific release that we are releasing now. We had to migrate the entire platform from .NET Framework to .NET Core 6. So whatever was in our backlog in terms of features was frozen until we do the migration. From 4.2 and onwards, we are looking forward to adding more and more features to cTrader Automate. For now, this is not in our immediate next couple of versions, since there are some features with more priority like Renko and range backtesting. But after that, yes, it's something we can now consider adding in cTrader.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Another question, okay, is for me. If the webinar is being recorded, yes, it is recorded, and we will share with you the file and also our contact details. So for any further questions, you will be able to contact Panagiotis, Paul, or Stefano directly. So this will be email. Expect email from me. And next question is for Paul. What are the results of the smart grid bots on live accounts? How profitable can it be? We don't hear you. We don't hear you. Your microphone. Okay, yeah.
Well, this project is a kind of community-led. It's an organic trading system that the actual community contributed to. We only provide backtest results. We don't actually sit down and run the robot live testing. To find out that, it's best to post on our Telegram group and actually ask other traders that are using it. But mostly, how profitable it can be, it depends. I mean, that's an open question, really. So for that one, it's probably better to talk on our Telegram group to discuss that one.
All right. Okay. Thank you. And there is another question. I think is for Stefano. I have a latency of 6 milliseconds to the cTrader proxy. However, there is a latency of 9 milliseconds between proxy and server. How to improve that?
Okay, so this is partially one of the topics that we need to cover in a more detailed webinar. So the latency is between your trading station and your broker server is split if you have a middleman. So not only the latency between your laptop and the broker server matters, but if your broker has, let's say, high latency with the liquidity provider, then the same problem eventually will be caused. So what you need to achieve, of course, you cannot change the latency between the proxy and the server, but what you can improve is the latency between your end and the proxy and the cTrader proxy. Now, how you can do that? I don't know whether the 6 millisecond is with the usage of a VPS or from your laptop. However, I can say that our VPS, I can say safely that our VPS have lower latency than 6 milliseconds to cTrader. But again, remember this part that you can only control the part between your end and the proxy server. So as low as you can get that part, then the lowest the average will be when trading.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Yeah, Panagiotis, for you, can we multiply cTrader consoles for multiple IC bots?
Sure. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to confirm Stefano's claim. I have the VPS here with the Spotware cTrader, and the latency is 1.2 to 3, which is a very good number.
Yes.
It's very close. And just to add a little bit on what Stefano said before, the mathematics are very simple. For every point in slippage you have in your execution, you pay, I think it's $10 per million dollars traded. Okay, so if $1 million traded, it's an average number for somebody who runs an automated strategy in 1 month. So it actually, if you save $10 a month on slippage, you pay for your VPS server.
Yeah.
So it's something anybody that runs automated strategies should consider, should do a good market research before placing his robot somewhere to trade. Regarding the multiple trade consoles, yes, of course, you can run as many as you want.
So it's no limit. Okay.
And Panagiotis, I have one question regarding your upcoming new release. Will the cTrader console be available through your API? So people will be able to use it outside, let's say, they will be able to execute it in an, let's say, automated programmatic way?
Since it is just an Excel file, yeah, you can access it in any way you want. You can write your own program and just start the process, kill the process, and do whatever you want. It's just an executable, yeah, that can be accessed from anywhere.
Okay.
So yeah, there are many ideas you can build on top of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I also want to share some feedback. Our guests publish like love ClickAlgo service. Also, I saw love cTrader platform. So we have also, yeah, already good feedback from our guests.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, again, love it cTrader. Even though they are new on it. So yeah, we cover our fans today.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. We still have some minutes. I don't know if we have more questions from our guests. Okay. Again, only good words.
Yes.
For yeah, very good presentation. Thank you for thank all. So I think if you want to add something, guys, Paul, Panagiotis.
Yeah, so anybody that, like I said, if anybody's still on here now, if you send them an email, if they are interested in the grid hedge system, they can get 50% discount. But the memory manager that they can run on their PC or VPS, they can have that for free. So if they are interested, they just drop an email to me.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So by the time there is no more question, and I will for sure share this recording with our guests, with the contact details of our speakers today, and then you can just follow up for your projects.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
The webinar will also be in our YouTube channel for anyone who missed it or who wants to watch it again. And we will update everyone for our next webinar when that will be organized.
Yes, true. Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.